I'd like to welcome everyone to our Faith Eco Seminar hosted by the Voices of Future Generations Children's Rights Initiative and also Cambridge Schools Eco Council. This is our last Eco Seminar in the mini-series for families with children or youth interested in local and global challenges and solutions related to climate change and global sustainable development goals. So today we're going to be focusing on climate change, consumerism and waste. Our first is our child author speaker, Miss Andrea Wilson, the Gold Award Laureate for the Voices of Future Generations Child Rights Initiative, a child author for North America of Sarah's Journey for Tomorrow, blog post of author on the Sustainable Development Goals and Children's Rights. Our next speaker is from the Cambridge Schools Eco Council, which is Miss Luana Fernandes from the Cambridge Schools Eco Council, Communications Officer, student of Parkside School, and a key organizer of student climate strikes and eco seminars. And our global expert is Dr. Markus Gehring, who is part of the Law and Land Economy lecturer, Jean Monet Chair of European Law, Sustainable Development, Centre for International Sustainable Development, the Council for Trade, Investment and Financial Law, Hughes Hall Law Director of Studies at the University of Cambridge. Also, I am very happy to welcome our fourth speaker, Professor Damilola Olayiwe, is an international lawyer, professor of law, arbitrator, author, and policy consultant with expertise in natural resources and environment law. He is vice chair of the International Law Association, co-chair of the Africa Interest Group of American Society of International Law. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Sustainable Development Law and Policy. Together with the Voices of Future Generations Initiative and Cambridge Schools Eco Council, we have been organizing a mini-series of free 60-minute online eco seminars to raise awareness of key sustainability challenges and solutions, while schools have been forced into online in many countries. Children, students, families, and members of the public can register for free over Eventbrite, participate online over Zoom from 4 to 5 p.m. UK time each fortnight from Tuesday the 21st of April to Tuesday the 16th of June. Each online eco seminar focuses on a key sustainable development goal, such as climate action, SDG 13, protect and restore life on land, SDG 15, or agriculture and food systems, SDG 2. Each online eco seminar includes student and expert speakers. Over Zoom, student eco counselors and UN Voices of Future Generation child authors and ambassadors, together with world-class experts, will provide a 25-minute introduction to sustainability challenges and discuss creative, local, and solutions. For a further 25 minutes, participants can ask questions and discuss potential solutions and ways to raise education and awareness interactively, followed by a 10-minute closing from experts and youth speakers by 5 p.m.
And I'd like to make a special welcome to Orla as well, Trainer Bucknor, who has joined us online because she has been involved in a very special project on green waste together with Nico and Jonah and several of the other children that are online, and also Michael Scallum from the Cambridge Independent, who we can see is also online. And I'm hoping that Orla will have a chance to share some of the things that she discovered and learned in building her green waste eco-composter as part of the Cambridge Schools Eco Council Eco Challenge. I think because this is the last one, we also have Junaid and Arifa Islam joining us. Junaid is the senior co-chair of the Eco Council, and he is online today, I think, to talk to you about some very special ways that you can all contribute to the next climate strike. So I think he's going to say a few words after the speakers.
Yes, at the very end. So why don't we get right in, wasting no time. We're going to start with child author speaker, Miss Andrea Wilson.
And if Sarah is online and maybe Sandra Wilson, I'm assuming that Andrea is on the Sandra Wilson connection. Do you want to unmute and show your video?
Yeah, so I'm on my computer. The camera isn't working, so I'm just going to say the speech. So, climate change is a foreboding issue whose threat to the future of our Earth increases every day. It results in mass starvation and millions of casualties due to increased occurrences of natural disasters.
Greenhouse renovations?
Which destroys crops and huge investments to try and rebuild what is destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Oh.
Along with climate change, our society faces consumerism and waste issues that result in malnutrition, hunger, and pollution. This speech will walk you through multiple issues that arise from these problems, as well as possible solutions and ways to make our society more sustainable, giving us ways to overcome them. Across the globe, hunger has become a growing issue. We are unable to deliver food to distant places where it is needed. We already grow enough food to feed 10 billion people. The problems lie in distribution and food waste. To limit these problems, each state or province should create a map showing where each farm in the state is located. Then the amount of people that each farm can feed must be estimated. Next, each farm should supply a certain group of grocery stores, shelters, and markets, ensuring that every area in the state has enough food. The food on each farm should be grown as efficiently as possible, utilizing techniques such as hydroponics and livestock fed using the food products humans don't use, such as wheat bran. In places where food is grown out of the general region, progress of food transportation must be monitored closely. In addition to garbage and recycling bins, a new bin and collection time for food waste should be added. Each town can set monthly goals for amount of food waste, which will be transformed into compost and used to grow new plants. To make sure that we attain a complete circle, sewage could be used to grow more plants. Water should also be distributed using the same system. Another resource that we consume and produce non-sustainably is energy. Our goal is to transform society from having exponential growth to one that functions in a full circle, which in this case means renewable energy. We must build and set up solar plants, wind farms, ways to access geothermal heat, and make use of hydropower as we progress towards a sustainable society. If we continue releasing fossil fuels into the atmosphere, accelerating global warming, sea levels will continue to rise and biodiversity levels across the world will plummet. To help slow the change in climate, I suggest that we switch to the use of electric cars powered on electricity created using renewable sources. In addition, limits of the amount of energy used per household in a certain region should be set. The last issue which I will discuss is our waste of plastic which we use for packaging. Our current system involves minimal recycling, using something once and throwing it away, and pollution. To fix this, we could ban plastic bags and plastic water bottles, instead using reusable cloth bags and reusable metal water bottles. Next, all glass and metal containers must be recycled, melted, and formed into new shapes, and plastic must be replaced with biodegradable substitutes, reducing waste. In addition, each family or household could be allotted a few non-plastic containers to reuse, and they could be filled with, you could go to the grocery store and fill them with olives instead of just buying a plastic container over and over again. By making our production and consumption of food, production of energy, and packaging more sustainable, we can create a more resilient society to help solve the problems climate change has presented us with. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that wonderful speech. I would now like to invite to the stage Cambridge School's Eco Council speaker, Miss Luana Fernandes.
In this speech, I will be talking about two major things, Earth Overshoot Day and consumerism, as these are two well-connected elements that contribute to the state of planet Earth. I will also state all my sources of information in the chat should any of you wish to take a look for yourselves, along with discussing possible solutions to both of these issues. Earth Overshoot Day used to be called Ecological Debt Day. It is recognized as a day where we use our annual resources for that year. This date has been increasing day by day and month by month since it began in the 1970s. These resources could be anything from crude oil to natural building materials. And consumerism is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as being the buying of goods and services, the belief that it is good for society or an individual to buy and use a large quantity of goods and services. The current economy relies on large amounts of consumerism, as well as society as a whole stresses that consumerism is good and even a stereotype of certain members of the human race. So what is Earth Overshoot Day? Earth Overshoot Day last year was July 29th, 2019. This is a stark and depressing contrast to the first ever Earth Overshoot Day, which on the 29th of December 1970, which was a 7-month increase in 49 years. In less than half a century, the collective globe used all annual resources in just over half a year. The UK predicted its country overshoot day was for the 16th of May, not even halfway through the year. In fact, it was 19 weeks into the year. But what makes this more upsetting, we seem to be going backwards one day every single year. What this means is that the UK is using its resources 19 weeks into the year, and the planet used all of its resources by July. But the terminology is a little confusing here. What I mean by used all annual resources is that the resources that the Earth can replenish. This is known as the planet's biocapacity. What we want to do and hope to reach is to achieve this day at the end of the year by December 31st. So now we know what it is and when it was, we can understand its basic importance, and we can find out how it's worked out. The equation is as follows. Planet's biocapacity divided by ecological footprint times 365. We have to divide the planet's biocapacity by humanity's ecological footprint first. A more depth definition of a planet's biocapacity is an estimate of production of natural resources and its absorption and filtering of other materials such as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And humanity's ecological footprint is exactly what it sounds like. Our footprint as a race of our global demand on nature, which leads me swiftly on to my next point. What are our global demands from nature? Our most explicit demands are oil for energy and electricity, coal for additional power, water for survival and drinking, and gas for the same as coal and oil. But acutely, we demand wood for paper, our jobs and schools, we demand plastic for our clothes and packagings, we demand metals for our phones and wires, we demand the deforestation of trees and forests for other types of oil, including palm. We demand the removal of grass and flowers for our roads. But even as young children, we would pick flowers for our parents. We swam in lakes and oceans. We take milk from cows and goats and plants so we can have our ice cream, cake, and breakfast. We take eggs from chickens, ducks, and geese, etc. All of this leads to consumerism, in that the supply and demand causes an increase in production, which equals an increased pollutant emissions, greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, fertilizers seeping into waterways, soot and particulates from the air from burning and factories. This is addition with land use for farming, legal or illegal, which naturally occurs by the deforestation for said farming space, or oils for food and soaps. But that will all and is leading to global warming and climate change, not to mention an overuse of sources that we need, land and water. For example, in Cambridge, we have an extreme lack of water from overtaking streams and valleys, along with a major lack of rain. But more personally, consumerism in the